share. Copy, paste this link and share with at least 3 people that you know. So monetize your gift. Monetize your gift. Can someone type in, there's absolutely nothing wrong with monetizing my gift? I know that's kind of long. Let me see. Type in monetize your gift. How about that? Just make it short. Monetize your gift. Let me also give a shout out to one of our CCL sisters. Let me say congratulations to Sandra Richardson for launching and releasing her new prayer journal and her book. I'm extremely excited for her and proud of her. I had the honor of being the forward on that book, and so I just wanted to give you a shout out and the kudos. Her book is now available on Amazon. Okay, I love giving you a shout out on here. All right, so let us go. Monetize. What does it mean to monetize? Monetize means to make a profit or derive income from. To make a profit or derive income from. Minister Karen said, I'm just going to type the whole sentence. There's nothing wrong with monetizing my gift. Amen. And you're very welcome, Sandra. So, to make a profit or derive income from. Many of you all that are watching this podcast, whether it's live or watching the replay, you have a call on your life in the area of entrepreneurship. Okay, you're called to build a business, whether you're doing it full-time or you're doing it part-time or you're doing it part-time. All right. Or maybe you have a craft that you love to do, but maybe you're not charging for it. Maybe you're always baking cakes and making cookies, and you bring these to the family gathering and you give them away free at church and you know at people's weddings, but you just won't charge. And the question is why? All right. And one of the things I've learned as an entrepreneur is that no matter what I do, I always give away something. If I do a coaching program, I always give away one. If I host an event, I always give away some tickets. You know, so that's my way of sewing back into a lady. Okay. And so, yeah. All right. So don't be afraid to monetize your gift. And I'm going to talk about a few ways to monetize your gift, but you just don't want to be afraid to do it, especially our ministers. And I'd say that because I remember as a minister, years ago when I wrote my first book, it was so challenging just to ask people to pay $15 for a book. Okay, at a conference that I hosted, I was feeling guilty for asking someone to buy a book. I'm just like, really, give me a break, right? And I remember the Lord said to me in prayer, he said, the people will pay you. The people will pay you if you'll charge them. The people will pay you they will make the investment if you will charge them. They will make the investment. And for years, I was coaching without even realizing I was a coach. I was always pouring into ladies and helping ladies. And if they had a question, I just, answer the question. But I never would charge for anything. And then I ended up going to a conference in 2014, and it shifted my mindset when I saw individuals making a $40-some thousand investment, putting $9,000 down just for information. And I was like, people will really pay you for that? And that opened my eyes, but that was not my first seed. My first seed is when I sat down with the owner operator of McDonald's. At that time, I think he owned about 4 or 5 of them. And when I sat down with him, he had asked me, we had crossed paths in business. So he knew me and he knew some of the stuff I did, but I never charged for it. And he said that he wanted to connect me with a young lady that owned her own school. And he said, listen, how much would you charge her to coach her? And I said, I don't know. I've never charged. And he looked at me and he said, people will pay you for what you know, right? And I said, well, yeah, I was like, I'm saying it like trying to be confident, but in my heart of heart, I really didn't believe people would pay me. I believe they would pay others, but I didn't believe they would pay me because that was never my mindset to charge people for coaching or being a strategist. Nothing. It was just like, if you had a question or problem, let me help you solve it. Right. And so, and then when I went to that conference in 2014, that is what opened my eyes. And at that conference, I said, you know what? I am going to launch my very first coaching program, which I did for $149. I did a group coaching for 10 people. I had 8 people to register. And I gave 1 position away. So I had 9 people in that program. And watch this right here. When I launched it, I didn't believe anyone would buy it. And when I held the conference call, I didn't believe anyone would buy it. You know, I was just like, okay, I'm going to launch this coaching program. I'm not expecting anyone to buy it. I'm on the conference call and I'm like, listen. And the title of it was Get Unstuck, Become Unstoppable. That was the name of my first program, Get Unstuck, Become Unstoppable. I think it was like either a 4 or 6 week group program where I met with them once a week for an hour and via conference call. And I had 8 people that bought into that event. And I was shocked. Okay, and then I started creating the material for, but that just tells you the low expectation we have when we release a product, the low expectation that we have when we release a product. So it's just shifting our money mindset. It's shifting our money mindset and stop being so religious and being more spiritual and relational and understanding God not only want to, because the Bible says in Proverbs 18:16 that our gift will make room for us. Well, making room not only comes with access and exposure and influence, but it also comes with resources and money and open doors. So someone please type in, don't run from the money, the moolah, the cheddar, the coins. Okay. Don't run from the money. Don't run. Put your name in that sentence. Nikki, don't run from the money. Sandra, don't run from the money. Karen, don't run from the money. Lillian, don't run from the money. Taisha, don't run from the money. Don't run from the money. Why are you running? Huh? God have resources and wealth that he want to get to you. Okay. All right. So, especially if you're a giver, especially if you are a giver. Yes. Don't run from the money, Karen. Yes. So let's not, and I want us to, if you're in that space and you're watching and you're like, well, it's so uncomfortable to charge for my services. Or I do charge for my services, but you lowballing. You lowballing. You lowballing. Like me, I started, but then I had to shift my mindset, and then I had to change my circle too, or I had to add to my circle, and so at that time, I hired some coaches that were operating at a higher level than I was. It put me in a different circle of entrepreneurs, and that was a huge help. It shifted my mindset. So, and I've had all levels of products. I've had high end, middle, and low end products. And I remember when I launched my very first mastermind in 2015. I launched it I hosted a mastermind retreat in Atlanta, Georgia. We had almost 40 ladies there that registered to attend the event. It was $1,200 per person to attend that event. And then I launched my mastermind where it was limited to 7 people. It was $5,000 per person to attend that event. It was $4,000 if they did the payment plan. I did like a discount for if you was at the event. It was $3,500 if you paid cash, you paid it in full. And it was $4,000 if you did a payment plan. All right. And if you registered after the event, it was $5,000, but that was the discount. And so we had 7 individuals in that particular program, 6 paid, 1, of course, I gave away. And that was a good program. So, and at that event, we ended up generating well over 20 in a matter of a weekend. Okay. Well, check this out. That was so hard for me to do. It was so extremely hard for me to do because I remember workers. I had two coaches at that time that I had hired, and both of them were key speakers for me. They flew in, and or I flew them in to participate in the mastermind retreat. And I remember I was just like I began to feel like and although people were there, they were receptive. And I began to feel like I don't believe I could do that. I just don't think I could do it. I just don't think. And I began to say that to my coaches. Maybe I need to wait. Maybe I need to wait to do the mastermind. Because I had never done a high end product. You understand? I did like $200, $500, $1,000, but I had never $1,200, but I had never done multiple thousands. And I began to second guess myself. I began to have feelings of inadequacy, like I wasn't ready yet. And I was just like, I just don't think I could do it. And this is why it's so good to be connected, because I remember these two young ladies, these powerhouse thought leaders, they were like, you are ready, and we're going to help you. You are ready. We're going to help you. And so I went forth and I launched that mastermind that day. They were there to support me. I was happy that I did not back up, because it stretched me. You understand? When we play small and we play it safe, or we are hiding, we can't tap into potential, dormant potential that, see, when you have potential is an ability that you have not even tapped into yet. But when you begin to step into arenas that you've never played in, it begins to introduce you to levels and layers of your gift that you didn't even know existed. And now you're walking in a space like, wow, you understand? And then the highest amount I've ever received from a client, and I'm sure it'll be even more larger than that. But the highest amount I've ever received from one client was $10,000. But I remember that was a day I didn't think a person would pay me over $1,000. You understand? And so, but because that mastermind is what led into, you know what I'm saying? Like having the confidence, like, okay, people need what I have. You understand? Now my gift and call is not for everyone. You understand? But there is a remnant of people out there that I know that I can be a benefit up to, and I can be a benefit for. You understand? And so it's you getting outside of your head, and I'm constantly reminding myself, don't overthink it. Get outside of your head. Don't overthink it. Get outside of your head, because we will talk ourselves out of opportunities. We will talk ourselves out of our next. We will even talk ourselves out of our now if we're not careful. Okay. And so today we're talking about monetizing your gift. And you may be on here like, well, I just work a job. I mean, it's not like I have a business or whatever, but you could monetize whatever it is you desire to do, So let me just give you some examples of monetizing your gift. Okay. Now, there's I'm not talking about investments today. I'm not talking about investments because there's a variety of ways that you can invest. What I am talking about is you monetizing your gift and you being able to do so. I created a free gift that if you've ever gone to yakineamarie.com, you'll see the link to it. It's create 7 income streams. And so I create, and it's like 2 bonuses. So it's a total of 9 on there. And so you can download it for free. And it'll give you a variety of ways that you can monetize your gift. I mean, like without going off brand, like you can write a book and turn that book into like 9 different income streams, and or 5. It just, you may only want to deal with 4 or 5 of them, but it's totally up to you. Okay. And without going off brand. Now, of course, you always want to diversify your revenue portfolio, whether you invest in real estate, whether you invest in cryptocurrency, whether you invest in precious metals, whether you invest in somebody else's entity. So you always want to diversify your income, your revenue portfolio. Okay. But right now, you can stay on brand and still multiply your revenue in a variety of ways. Okay. So whether you are a speaker like Minister Karen, whether you are an author, whether you own a traditional brick and mortar business, like for example, I know Dr. Taisha, she owns a brick and mortar business with training, certifying, certified nursing assistants, and I don't know what else you do, Dr. Taisha. I know it's in the medical field, but anyway, so. But I know she offers some services in the medical field. So with that said, Dr. Taisha, I'm going to use Dr. Taisha as an example. All right. So Dr. Taisha has a live training where individuals can actually come, they can learn, they can get certified. But she can also, which she may already have, I'm not sure, but I'm just using it as an example. But she can also write a book around her expertise. So she's been in it for a minute. She can write a book around her expertise. She can also have a workbook. Watch this. She can also have a workbook that not only that she utilizes, she makes available for her students to purchase, but she can also license this, or she can white label it to other entities that are pretty much in a similar field as she is, okay? Where they can literally white label, I mean, they will literally take her brand off of the manual that she created or had created and put their label on it. They will actually sell it, and she will get a percentage of every unit that is sold, right? So let's say she they sell this book for $69, and she works out an agreement that she gets $19 for every sale, right? So, or she gets $29 for every sale. Okay, so that right there, and then also the public speaking piece that comes with that she may want to take it to an entirely different level, where she's not just certifying, but she's teaching on the different aspects of the body, the mind, the health component, right? It's almost like a health coach. So she's teaching people how to care for other people's loved ones, but now she's teaching the student, she's certifying them, but she's taking it a step further by now standing on a platform, just educating people about their bodies, educating people about their loved one, educating people what to look for when a CNA or any type of nurse is assisting their family. Right. And so, and then she could take it a step further, and she could turn around and start teaching other people who desire to own an entity. They don't just want to become a certified nursing assistant or in some capacity like that, but they actually want to own a facility, teaching other individuals how to become certified. And so now she's getting up into from a $15, $20 book or $50 workbook up to $4,000 or $5,000 or more for entities, corporations, to teach them how to own an establishment like she does. All right. But everything is on brand. Everything is on brand. She can also create an online e-course, a digital school, a university where individuals can actually come in and they can learn virtually. For those individuals who don't want to come in live or choose not to come in live, you understand? So there's a variety of revenue streams she's actually bringing her way. Now, although I'm using Dr. Taisha as an example, I want everyone to look at yourself. You understand, whether you're selling a tangible product, you understand whether you're selling shoes, like I know Miriam have these nice high-end shoes she sells. So whether you're selling shoes or you're baking or you're selling a service that's intangible, but it's something that they need. CPR certification. Oh, CPR certification. I kept saying CNA. Well, it was a C something, Dr. Taisha, but CPR certification, which we do need. Okay. You understand? So regardless of what you're selling, whether it's a tangible product or it's an intangible service, is something that can be monetized and multiplied. It can be multiplied because you're starting with one stream, you mastered that stream, and now you're adding a second stream, and then you have that stream flowing, and now you're adding a third stream, and now you have that stream flowing. You understand? And so it's Dr. Taisha is saying, she said, by the way, I do both. I do CNA and CPR. She do all the C's. All right. Congratulations, honey. So I want you to really think about that. I want you, if you are an entrepreneur watching me, if you are a CEO, if you are a business owner, if you are a parallelpreneur, I want you to think, or you're an aspiring entrepreneur. Maybe you haven't gotten started yet, but you desire to do so. I want you to have a mindset of multiplication, not just multiplying your results with your one product, but I want you to have a mindset of multiplying and diversifying the revenue streams that's coming into you. I will always encourage you to start off with one and focus in that area, because typically when individuals start at two at the same time, they end up not being really good or giving the time needed to both. You understand? Now, some people can launch two products and they can kind of juggle it very well. If you can juggle it very well, I say go for it, okay? But some people, their focus is just not there. So I would say start with the one. And after you get that ball rolling, you get to stride, then you add the second one. You understand? Because while you're launching the product and promoting the product, you can still be behind the scene creating whatever this other service is, whether it's digital or whether it's a hard copy that individuals can actually get access to. All right. One of the things, let me say this real quick, because I'm excited about this. I've alluded to it. I've alluded to it. I've kind of said it without promoting it, but I made a decision. Let me just put it on out there so I can, see, it's something about just saying, listen, this is what's gonna happen. That it holds you to a level of accountability, and it put a fire under your feet. You understand? And that's why I just love when individuals say, okay, that's why I tell you, if you're about to write a book, just go ahead and tell people it's going to release on this day. What that'll do is it will help you not procrastinate. Because when you typically, and some things you just want to keep to yourself. We talked about that the other day. But when you're writing your book and you're almost finished, go ahead and let them know it's coming. You can do your pre-orders, whatever the case may be, because it will help you not procrastinate, especially if you're dealing with a spirit of procrastination. Especially if you're dealing with the spirit of procrastination, okay? So we are, as everyone know, my birthday is July the 4th, or some people, they switch it around and say 4th of July. And so on July, this is a gift that I'm giving to myself because I've been really meditating on this for over a year. Just kind of like, yeah. But I meet quite a few women who, whether they invest in some of the programs we have or whether they show up to our trainings for the She Sell Network, I meet a lot of women who they want to create certain things for their business, whether it's systems, whether it's e-courses, whether it's, you name it, websites, whether it's media kits for their speaking engagements, whether it's publishing their book and editing their book, whatever the case may be. But we teach them how to do it, like the DIY, do it yourself. And so they start doing it, but then they feel stuck. Like, I don't really know it. So on July the 1st, we're going to launch, I'm going to launch a services platform where we do it for you. Okay. And so I'll give you more on that. I'm not releasing a name yet and all of that because I have to make sure that it's, we have it sent into the trademark office and all of that stuff like that, but we are working on it. So, but on July the 1st, we will be releasing that. So for those of you who said, I don't want to create it myself, we will do it for you. Okay. Somebody type in, do it for me. So we will do it for you. And that will be one of the signature services of the SheCO Global Brand and SheCO Network, is to support women entrepreneurs so they don't have to be stuck trying to figure out, how do I do it? Let me watch all these tutorials. Now you can do it yourself. You can. I learned how to do a lot of stuff myself, but I hire people to do stuff too. Even if I know how to do it, but I just don't want to spend the time on doing it, I just hire somebody to do it for me. Okay. And it's definitely worth it. And so we're going to release that. I'm excited about it. I'm very nervous about it. I'm not afraid, but it is it's just introducing me to another layer of who I am, because I ran from it. I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do that one right now. And I'm constantly hearing women, well, I just don't know how to do it. And then I just be like, okay, but I showed you how to do it. Here's the step by step how to do it, and they just like, but I watched it, but I still just feel stuck, So this is for you. All right. This is for you. Michelle Holmes said, well, thank you, Jesus. We got you, girl. And so we're going to do it. And I'm just going to see what God is going to do with it. Okay. And I'm making this announcement boldly, with a little kicking and screaming, because I'm not gonna tell a story. I was running from this one. I promise you, I was running from this one. I was like, God, let me just show them how to do it. I can show them how to do it. I even create a digital program that will walk them through step by step. They just got to watch it, Lord. But for those who just willing to make the investment, we're there for you. So monetize your gift. Don't be afraid to make an investment. I wrote this down right here. Don't be afraid of money. Don't be afraid of money. Don't be afraid of acquiring money, and don't be afraid of investing money. Don't be afraid of acquiring money, and don't be afraid of investing money. Thank you so very much, Dr. Taisha. So don't be afraid. Write that in your journal. Don't be afraid, Karen. Don't be afraid, Michelle. Don't be afraid, Ray J. Don't be afraid to acquire money, create it, and don't be afraid to invest money. You'll be amazed at the people that have held themselves back because they was afraid to invest money. That used to be me. I'm telling you, it is. I remember, I'll close out with this story right here. In 2014, I'm talking about, and I had, personally, I felt like I had a good reason, because that year in 2014, I hadn't even made over $20,000. See, in 2013, February the 1st of 2013, I quit my job and went full-time entrepreneur, okay? Now, I was still afraid to charge for a $15 book. I was hosting conferences and just trying to figure my life out. And so, and doing book launches and all this stuff. And so, and I struggled, and then in 2014, I was still struggling. And so my first 2 years as a full-time entrepreneur, I was struggling. Probably didn't make $20,000 in 2013 nor 2014. And so I probably had made about $18,000 in 2014. And one of the coaches, she had a program that was $500. It was like a digital program, but you get her some, but a digital program. And I did like a free mastery session with her. And she broke down the program to me, and she was like, it's only $500. And now she's a high-end coach. But at that time, she was building her coaching brand. And she was like, it's only $500. And I was just like, I'll think about it. Da, da, da. And then I got the phone with her, and I was like, man, $500, you know what I could do with $500? I'm not about to invest no $500. And this was toward the end of 2014, and I did not invest. And I was struggling. Well, when the beginning of 2015 came, I was launching, at the time we were called the I Am Woman this, what we was called I Am Woman Network, and then I added business to it. And so I launched the I Am Woman Network on January 31st of 2015. And then I, and after we launched, we had a good lunch. We had the news station at the BJCC, Aaron and bringing visibility to us. And I just, and as another month progressed, and then when around April, I said, you know what? I really want to take this brand to another level. I really want to take this brand to another level, and I need to invest. And so I remember I reached out to a coach, and she had an $8,000. Well, I went to an event she had in Atlanta, like a little luncheon, whatever, and she had several programs. And I asked her, I said, what is the highest program that you have that offers the most value? I just want to take my brand to another level. And it was an $8,000 program. I didn't have $8,000 straight up to give her, but I said, okay, how much can I pay per month? And so I agreed to pay $900 per month for this particular program. A month later, I think I went to her thing like in February or March, and then the second young lady was hosting an event in April. I mean, I was just really serious. And at her program, she launched a $10,000 program. And I didn't have the money, and you had to put a certain amount down. I told her, listen, I don't have that to put down. Are you willing to take $600 some dollars down? That's about what I can give you right now. And that's by prayer and faith, about $600 down. And then can I pay you $500 a month? Because I had already made a $900 commitment, right? And I remember I had them on my vision board that I'm going to hire these coaches. And she said, okay, yeah, she agreed to it. And I said, and as my revenue increase, I'll pay more. And so I was paying about $1,400 a month for both of these coaches. But here's the thing. I stepped out by faith because I knew I was going to do whatever they told me to do. I knew there was no way in the world I was going to take myself to the limit financially and not implement what they taught me. And whatever they taught me, I did it. You understand? And I went from making $18,000 in 2014 to making like $83,000 or $84,000 in 2015. The only difference was two things: strategies, and application. I needed the strategy because, like many of you all that are watching me or watching me live or watching a replay, or many of the women I'll never meet, it's not that we're lazy. It's not that, we're even afraid. We just lack strategies. And if we had the strategies, we would implement what we learned. You understand? If we just understood what to do, how to do it, or where to invest, we would do that. Okay. And so that's why I said, do not be afraid. I want you to write that in your journal. Do not be afraid of money. Do not be afraid to acquire it. If somebody want to pay you $5,000 for your services, $5,000 for you to coach them, $5,000 for you to train them, don't be like, well, no. I don't know about, thank you. This is where you listen. This is where you send it. Let me invoice you. Thank you. So don't be afraid to ask for the sale. Don't be afraid to receive it. And don't be afraid to make the investment if you know you're going to do what it takes to get your brand to another level. You understand? Don't be afraid. But I'm telling you, I did it. And I know many women, I know, they'll be like, well, I don't know if I want to. And listen, when you're ready, you do it, baby. It's no pressure. It's never pressure, right? Never pressure. I always tell your clients, it's no pressure. When you're ready, I will be here, okay? But right now, I'm going to work with the people who are not afraid of money. They're not afraid to acquire it, nor are they afraid to invest it, okay? All right, and I know this is one of the reasons why we're launching the services business, because it's for those women that say, listen, I am ready to take my brand to another level, and I'm willing to make the investment, and I'm willing to receive whatever revenue that God attracts to me through the new clients and the current clients that I currently have, period. That's it. Okay. All right, so Ray J said, ouch. I don't know why you're saying ouch, Ray J, but hey, I guess it's a good thing. It's probably stretching you. All right. So monetize your gift. All right. Monetize your gift. Yeah, monetize your gift. So just be excited about it. I'm excited. You know, I am excited about God stretching me. I'm excited about God stretching you. I'm excited about us not playing small. I'm excited about us not hiding or crawling or making excuses while we're going to stay at a certain place. I don't care how successful you are. There is more. It doesn't matter who you have helped. There is more people that you can support. And so, yeah, I just want you to expect it. And I want you to know that you deserve to be here. Regardless of whether you feel like you're qualified or not, if God opens the door, you are qualified. I want you to go ahead and type that in. I am qualified. You are qualified to be there. You know, I don't care what lying thought the enemy try to place in your head. I don't care what anybody says. If God opens the door for you, you are qualified. You are qualified. Amen. Amen. Now, if I said at least one thing that resonates with your spirit, click the like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you click the notification button. Make sure that you share with at least 3 people that you know. And that you can download the free gift, Create 7 Income Streams at yakineamarie.com, or just click one of the links in the description below. Now we have Jayla Bug in the rug that have joined us.